Alright folks, welcome back to another raid video, and we're going to continue the Forgotten Legendary series. They're so forgotten that I almost forgot to do the series, but yeah, this is one guy that is kind of old school, I would say now. He came out on the same patch as like Madame Ceres and Miscreated Monster. One of the coolest looking champions in the game anyway. He's pretty cool. He's actually really, really good, and I think you just don't see him anywhere really. He doesn't get used. It's not that he's not good. I mean, his reviews are still pretty solid. People that use him say he's good, but he just doesn't feel like he's got a proper place right now. But I still think he's forgotten about in terms of arena defense. He's actually insanely good for arena defense. One of the best champions for enabling Torment in the game. And we're going to find out why just now. So let's go ahead and look at his skill kit. So he's an HP based champion, which is always cool. Probably my favourite champions in the game are all HP based. They can't get affected by decreased attack or decreased defense for their offense capabilities. Obviously, decreased defense will make them take more damage, but they're a little better off than obviously other champions because their base power is coming from their HP, so they're going to be more survivable that way rather than defensive based. And he's got an A1 here that hits 3 times, so he can actually be used for Fire Knight, which is pretty cool. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 25% of stealing 1 buff from the target, which is actually a 35% chance, which is actually really, really good. 35% on a 3 hit means you're probably going to steal 1 buff minimum. Each hit also has a 25% chance of placing a fear if the target has no active buffs. This chance increases to 100% if all buffs were stolen from the target. So it's actually one of the better A1s I think in the game, especially for arena defense, because arena defense, let's talk about platinum arena defense. Your wins are going to be coming off sort of RNG based things that are slightly overpowered on an RNG basis. So that's why someone like Mortu Macabre or something's pretty good in defense, because he has that 20% chance to proc the hidden skill, things like that. There's loads of ways around it. I mean, obviously Swift Parry is RNG. Even technically reaction is RNG based, so the RNG stuff really does work in terms of arena defense. So this is talking about platinum defense, so he can definitely be used in platinum defense. We'll do the rest of his kit and we'll explain why, but he's a very good, solid defender all the way around. His A2 attacks all enemies again, places a block buffs debuff for 2 turns on targets under fear debuffs. So that kind of synergies with this, because although it's quite difficult to place the fear debuff, there is more fears that come from the other ability though. Removes any increased attack buff from the target and replaces it with decreased attack. Removes continuous heals and replaces them with a poison. The number of poisons equal to the number of heals removed. So that is damage based on HP. I would say his damage is pretty bad, to be honest. His damage multipliers are not good, but he is not here to deal damage at all. Although, if you stack him with HP and do get 100% crit, he can deal some, but he's never going to deal a ton of damage. And then onto his A3, attacks all enemies, has a 75%, which is 100% of booked, of placing a True Fear debuff for 1 turn. Now, True Fear is a very good debuff. It kind of gets overlooked a lot of the time, but I know someone like Michelle puts on with a bunch of other stuff, but placing it on here, and then also places a decreased speed debuff, and decreases the turn meter by 15% if the True Fear debuff is placed. So if you build them with the accuracy alright, and they're already, they don't have block debuffs up or immunity or something, if you place this, you're getting all 3 of these, which is really strong. Decreased turn meter, decreased speed, True Fear. When the True Fear lands, they still run the cooldown of their skill, which is really good. Then, if that doesn't work though, it has a 75% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn if the True Fear is not placed. All on a 4-turn cooldown. But out of all this kit, the Crown and Jewel is definitely this passive. It's nice and simple. When attacked, decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. So some of the best champions, especially defensive champions in this game, have passive abilities that do stuff without having you to actually do anything. So someone like Seeker, he's been brilliant for a long time because he puts up increased defense. Someone like Sand/Survivor puts up the ally protection and the block damage on herself. And that's when they're attacked. So this is the same idea. This does something without you having to take a turn. It does it in reaction to them attacking. And the reason it's so good is because this will decrease the duration of all buffs on the attacker. So like I said before, this guy's a brilliant Torment enabler. So you just stick him in a team with Torment, And say, obviously, if you've got a Tormund on defense, people are going to use Siphi, they're going to use immunity. So it's going to be a block debuffs for 2 turns, say on immunity. So if they do that, the attacker takes a turn, that's 1 turn gone, so it's down to 1 turn. They attack you, this reduces it again. As soon as the attack's over, that attacker is now free to get frozen by Tormund. So it's really going to reduce that. And then for the remainder of the fight, every time someone's attacking, if he's got A1s going off or anything onto Harvest Jack, you're going to keep decreasing these buffs and you're just going to plow the freezes on like mad. It really works quite well together. And obviously because he's decreasing buffs as well, he's able to land more of his debuffs much more. And he's also going to be removing buffs from his A1, removing buffs from his A2. He's really pretty damn good actually when you look at his kit, especially if you get like if you're like lower platinum just into gold 4 and people aren't that experienced, they don't know anything about Harvest Jack, which a lot of people don't because you don't see him that much. They could really get caught out by this guy and he can do some pretty good work. I think the optimal set to keep him in is a shield set because he's HP based. He's got crazy high HP, 26,000, well, nearly 27,000. So I've run him at 110k health. You want him reasonable speed to land some of these debuffs. 350 accuracy is about right, I think. There's no point in going for crazy high accuracy because you're only really wanting to reduce the debuffs on the problem champions, which aren't generally going to have more than 350 resistance. So like speed boots, got some really good speed boots here in a shield set. HP and HP on these two. Then just looking for HP, speed and accuracy on the banner. And then on the masteries, I've opted for down the support tree to Eagle Eye, got all these accuracy masteries, but I have opted for both of these. Now Retribution and Deterrence on this is really strong because his A1 is just really, really good with this kind of build. You know, you're going to be removing buffs from the target. This pretty much always removes like 1, so that could easily be the block debuffs as well on say another champion. So that's going to remove that, and then that frees them up to get frozen by Tormund again. He just works really, really well with Tormund, this guy. It's just unfortunate he doesn't have like an HP burn on. He would be like the ultimate Tormund champion. But what we'll do is we'll just chuck him into a couple of games of arena defense. We'll try him in gold 4. I'll take him into platinum for a little bit, but we'll chuck him in gold 4 and see how he does against sort of Siphy teams, because I could try and find a few that have immunity, but I might be looking about for ages because you can't tell right away who has immunity. Right, here we are in gold 4, and it looks like we've got a couple of teams that will work here. Let's try this team here, level 100 guy. Hopefully this is a decent team. So we'll jump in with this team here. This is an arena defense team, so it's not meant to kill them. Well, at least kill them quick. It might well kill them, but it's meant to kind of stall the opponent and make them rage quit effectively. Now, I don't have any of my reaction accessories on these guys. I could put a bunch on Tormund and their Saga, but I don't want to muck about with my champions right now. So that would make this team even stronger, but we'll just go ahead with this. So what's going to happen here, Siphi should go first if they've built the team right. Block debuffs up, which is what you would use against Tormund, and then when Trunda takes a go, she'll attack, and then she'll lose all her block debuffs and be able to be frozen by Tormund pretty much instantly. So let's put it on 1 speed and hit auto and see what happens here. So block debuff is up, they can't get frozen. There we go, look, Tormund now has no, sorry, Trunda has no buffs on her and she's frozen. So it worked perfectly. Now our team's free to go and muck about with them and do some damage. I'm just going to hit it on 2 times. So it's definitely not a fast team for winning, obviously. It's not meant to win fights, but it's meant to just stall the opponent down. I'm not getting too much RNG here. There we go. We're getting a lot of good freezes in there, so that's what we need. This specific team I've built here doesn't actually have a reviver, so I probably would have been much better with Duchess in place of our Saga. I was just kind of throwing this team together. But you get the idea. They're just not keeping... Look at this. Everyone's getting frozen. She attacked. She lost all buff. Yeah, it would be infinitely better with Duchess in here. In fact, let's just do this again with the Duchess. I think that is probably the optimal team for just now. Take that out, stick Duchess into wherever I can find her. There. Do I need... I mean, I could just make it more defensive, to be honest, but I think I'm going to keep it like this. And stick Tormund in lead would have given another increase in defense. Here comes Trunda, tries to blow us up, loses all her buffs. She's not been frozen yet, unfortunately. But you get the idea. It's left them open to get frozen, so a little bit of bad RNG here for me. Frozen Sippy. This is a much better team. And there we go, are able to get the True Fears on, and we actually win that one. That's awesome. So that is really, really cool. And you might pick up a few wins from either that happening or from people just quitting on you. So let's go and try and find another few teams and see what we can do. Right, here we go. We found another one. This is Arbiter, Siffy. Right, let's try against this team here. This is the same deal. Siffy's in lead, so we'll hit auto. Block debuff up on the... this guy here. He's attacked us. And there you go, he's lost all his block debuffs. Now he's able to get frozen if he gets a buff on, obviously, but he just dies anyway. And there we go, we've killed them. So, I mean, this is a pretty strong team I'm using regardless of this, but in like lower areas of Gold 4, this guy's really good with Tormund, and I know a lot of people will have Tormund because he was a fusion at one point. I think a lot of people struggle to enable him these days because, you know, he is pretty easy to get around if you have things like Skytouch Shaman, all these kind of stuff. This guy just makes it a lot better for using them, just for lowering those buffs down to a manageable amount. Let's try this team here. This looks like another one. Use some of the tokens. You get the idea though. I would try and find some immunity teams if I could. I'm thinking blender comps if I can find them, but not many people use them. There we go, bye-bye buffs, but he actually killed my Harvest Jack. That's fine, he's getting frozen now, everyone's getting frozen down. Duchess decides not to use her revive as usual, which is a pain. Okay, this one's not gone as well. Had a little bit of bad RNG, but that worked out quite well with that little Tormund revive. Now they're all getting frozen. Yeah, we'll see if we can find maybe one team with immunity, but it does the same thing. In fact, it's a little bit better actually, because they're usually, if it is someone like a blender composition, they're quite a bit weaker, so they're easy to counterattack. But then if you're using this as a defense team, I doubt anyone would actually attack a team like this if they were using blender comp. So, but it's just, it catches people out because people are so not used to running into a Harvest Jack that they'll just get caught out with it. Even though this is now losing effectively, we're at 1 minute 10, we're going to get a revive soon again anyway, and it's just going to go on for a lot longer than it needs to be. So at this point, if this was a platinum reset, they would have quit. And this is a reasonably good team we're fighting here, it's not like a rubbish team. Now we see we took the increased speed there off Siffy. So like you say, you always usually get one off that A1, which is really cool. Swift parry comes in clutch for us there. So this isn't as good a fight, but as you can see, it's slowing it right down. Bunch of True Fears up again. Now, boom, suddenly we're in the driving seat. And this is because they're just not able to keep their buffs up. And look at that. We have a winner. We have a winner. That is the team, guys. So yeah, I'm not actually going to go through and look for any more because it's just going to be the same fight over and over again. And showing defensive teams is quite difficult on Raid for a number of reasons. A, Raid don't give us a test server to test, even just between like clanmates would be brilliant, but you really want to be able to test your defense. It's difficult because you're fighting against the AI. I'd much rather I was able to get my clanmates to just come in and attack my defense and say how I'm doing, say how things go, take some videos and stuff like that. Even if we had like a test server, similar to what the content creators in the higher level of the creator program have, to test like new champions and stuff, it'd be great as a content creator to be able to just test arena defenses. So maybe that's something they might think about in the future. And the other thing is Harvest Jack can be used in a lot of different arena defense builds, not just with Tormund. He's a great Tormund enabler, but I'll let you guys figure it out. Because this passive is quite unique, it can be used in loads of different ways that I will let you guys figure out for yourselves, because like I say, arena defenses are usually kept under wraps a little bit, so try and figure something cool out and use him. He's definitely more of a defensive character, can potentially be used for offense, but he's not hard hitting enough, and he's much better when things are attacking him first. So potentially some sort of go second team, but he's definitely a better defensive character. But that is the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to the channel as usual. Hit that bell button for notifications, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.